All right. Hello. Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another and the lovely Miss Karla. I'm actually here with, I'm really excited. This is going to be just kind of an organic, we were going to I was going to do a little background on what we were going to talk about, and then we just need to let this flow. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're guided to talk about. And Karla is an amazing, I don't even know that I want to label you as a healer. I feel like you're more of the shaman mixed in, and a shaman is all of that. It's a healer. It's connecting with these multidimensional aspects. And she does a lot of things that I wanted to make sure that I shared with everybody. And we connected through a session a while ago and have made a couple connections since then. And the experience is always so beautiful because, Karla, you have such a beautiful energy that you bring to the table. So thank you for being here and just kind of sharing the space with myself and everybody else who's going to watch this.
Well, first of all, thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Carrie, because you are like an inspiration for me. Thank you so much for sharing and for helping me sharing all these to everyone. Thank you.
This is so much fun. Yeah, and that's the other thing I love about you, Karla. You're so fun. You have such bright energy. By the way, I was guided to wear a really bright shirt again. I always wear blue, and we have all these bright colors on. It matches your personality.
Matching.
Yeah, I love it. Of course, I could have worn any color today and matched the rainbow, but so I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe starting off, and because you do a little bit of many things. You don't just do one thing, and I love that because a lot of us have a little bit of different things to bring to the table. But let's kind of put it on you, and if you don't mind, just kind of talk a little bit about what you do, not even just for your career, but what you enjoy doing and bringing to others from your own creative aspect.
Sure. Well, oh gosh, I do so many things, and thank you. I started with the singing. I'm an opera singer, but I kind of never connected with the classical music thing. There was something missing, and I didn't know what was that. So with the time, I just did noises, but I didn't know why. I just did noises, and I thought it was just kind of normal for singers to do that, right? And 2 years ago, I started to do like more noising and toning, which I didn't know it was toning. I was just like sounds, right?
Yeah.
And once I started to watch your videos, it started the inspiration there, right? And then I started to have more sessions with you, and I started to recognize myself, and I started to reconnect myself. After that, I did sound therapy certifications, just to say that, because I kind of I was using everything, but I just didn't have it consciously.
Yeah.
And one of my teachers, actually, she is a singer from the Circo du Soleil, and we had exactly the same problem. She was also an opera singer, but she never connected with the music too. And I was like, wow, so I'm not the only one, right?
Yeah. Ooh, goosebumps.
Yeah, I know. And she was doing also sounds. And with her, I understood that my mission, it was more just using the throat chakra by singing, but not like singing rhythms or a song or opera. It was just like use your voice to what? I didn't know to what. So in these travels, in these trips to Mexico, I had to reconnect with my roots because I've been living in Canada for 20 years. And I needed to reroot myself with my ancestors, with my lineage, which I don't have here. In Canada, I do have my native people and the energy, which is helping me a lot to open more myself. But in Mexico, it was like, oh, that's me, right? To recognize myself. In different ceremonies, I had these callings with the cacao, with the grandmother cacao, for example, and the sound, it helped me to open more my throat chakra to sing other things. And I just kind of start to put everything together, and I realized that I've been calling to help women to reconnect our sacred femininity, because um, in this so big routine that we have, in this new world that we have, we lost ourselves in the routine, in the money, in the
Mhm.
shopping, and in things that we don't need.
Yeah.
And where's the Mother Earth, the energy of Mother Earth? We need that energy. We need to recognize that when we are menstruating, it's not bad, it's not yucky, and
Mhm.
that's something that we got in our heads.
Mhm.
So to reconnect with our second heart, I call it uterus. The
Mm.
uterus is our second heart. To reconnect with it, to reconnect with our breast, to reconnect with everything will help us to open our heart, and just to keep moving and increase our vibration. That's what we need nowadays, right? So
Yeah.
through the sounds, through the vibrations, through binaural beats, through everything with love, with intention, it's how I'm helping other women and men to recognize themselves
Mhm.
and to reconnect with heart, with Mother Earth, and with the cosmic creator.
Right?
So that's
Yeah.
it.
In a nutshell. And I love it. I love the fact that you're bringing in sound. You're bringing in, let me just pause this just for a second. I hear my door is open. So sorry about that. So we're
It's
back.
okay.
I'm back. Um, I love the fact that you tie in the sounds, the rhythms of the energy around you, your roots, the divine feminine, which is obviously a huge subject right now for everyone. I love the fact that you added that this is this that way for men as well. But I feel like this was, I mean, I know when we connected, maybe you were using the voice in different ways after we connected. But even before that, you were working with women, weren't
Mm-hmm.
you, in that way? Will you talk about that a little bit? I'd love to tie this all in because that's like
Sure.
really cool and that's a huge aspect of it because so go ahead, I'll let you take off
Just
from
love
there.
it. Well, I know some people will say, "Oh, that's weird," but I
Uh-huh.
love placentas. It's like
Yeah.
amazing to work with placentas. How come? Well, um, the mama brings the beautiful placenta to me, and what I do is to dehydrate it and encapsulate it and take it back to the mom. And that's just something beautiful to work with. But most of the doulas, because I'm also a doula,
Mm-hmm.
will just take the piece of meat and just work on it, and not me. I will chant. I will do like a small ceremony, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just a beautiful organ to work with, and it's something so magic. It's like magical thing where the
So
baby was there.
how does that work? So you take it, they bring, I mean, can you just give us a little idea of, let's say I'm a mother or a new mother, and let's go back just for a moment. You go through the whole journey then,
Yeah.
right? So you're going from, can you talk a little bit about that too and bring us to the placenta? Let's go backwards and start first pre-placenta and go from there, if you don't mind.
Of course. Well, we all know what's going on with daddy and mommy,
Yeah,
and
right.
then baby's there.
Yeah.
So,
We can skip that part. And then there's the
oh,
store.
oh
You know,
no.
not that the sexuality isn't important. I'm
Oh,
certainly not knocking that. But
just
yeah.
joking. So, the mommies contact me, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't know and they need some information. So, I will give them the different methods which it is done, as well as the benefits. The benefits are just not energy. is also physically, that will help you to boost your energy, to boost your milk, to boost your happiness.
Working with a doula, is this what you're referring to right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify, because I know there's people that might watch this that have no idea what that is.
Okay, so a doula, it's the person that will help the mom to feel good during the birth, which means that if she wants ice, I will go and grab an ice. If she needs music, I will play music. If she needs a back rub, I will be doing it.
You're like her assistant.
Like everything, yeah, everything. Also, if she needs, it doesn't finish there. After giving birth, I will be cooking for her if she needs to. I'll be helping with the kids. I'll be helping with the food. I'll be helping with.
It's like you become part of the family as this process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after this is done, they have this placenta. I just went for it because I think it's fascinating. I really do. I'm like, what is this? This is like.
Because once I have the placenta in my hands, some of them went printings. So I will take the placenta, I will put in a canva, and with the blood, I will do a printing of the placenta, and you will show the tree of life, and you can see it. It's just so beautiful, and it's from your baby. So, and some of them will just have a smoothies, for example, or like a pie, or like so many recipes, but most of them will just want it encapsulated.
I was gonna say, I didn't know we went there, but hey, since we're going there, woo! Now, why would this be something? Obviously, this goes back.
Yes, definitely. It's something that is so natural, and we can see it in the mammals. They eat the placenta. Why we don't? Because we have that chip here, right? That it's bad, you. But it's something that it's coming from even our native people. The problem is that everything changes with colonization, with different cultures that are fusionated. How do you say that?
I don't know.
Fusion.
Oh, you mean they've kind of some things have been left behind and they've combined their.
Yes, combine it.
I know
right?
there's a better word for it, but yeah.
For sure. Sorry.
No, you're asking the wrong person. I just combine words naturally as it is. I make up my own language. So if you're looking for like a specific, not me.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah. So there's this. It's just been lost. It is
lost.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and it's like so many different methods to do this, right? It doesn't have to be like taken. You can also plant it. You can different things depending on the culture and traditions. The thing is just to keep bringing them back, right? To reconnect. That's the thing. To reconnect the baby, to reconnect the mom, to make that bond again, energetically, and with love, and with the family and the community.
Yeah. So having said that, what is the encapsulation? And I meant to start with like the light language and then work our way up to the placenta, but I just went for it. So encapsulate. So let's come back to this, because I do want to talk about, it's interesting because we're talking about this divine feminine, and I've read so much about how powerful, with the menstrual cycle and the blood, and how in many cultures, you give it back to the earth, because, it's just like if you're planting seeds. I'm getting goosebumps. If you're planting seeds, they tell you, our ancestors tell us to spit on the seeds, spit on the seedlings, and then they grow and they have your DNA. So do you know much about how that menstrual blood is so important?
Oh God, yes, it's so sacred, right? Just, I have to pause it.
That's okay. Hello. We got it back. So obviously you're a mother as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, menstrual blood, it's again, we have the culture, right, that we were reprogrammed, uh, that saying that that is a wrong thing, that that is yucky, that, oh my God, you are menstruating, oh, that's so bad. Like all the things are bad and negative, and bad energy and low energy, low words, frequency
Mm-hmm.
words again. And all those thoughts are going to your uterus, and it's causing lots of problems, right?
Yeah.
Pain, cancer, like all these, so many news and bad illnesses.
Right.
So yes, there are different ceremonies, sacred ceremonies that will help uh, to reconnect women and women in general, the community,
Yeah.
with the earth. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly with menstrual blood.
Mm-hmm.
We call it like an elixir.
Mm-hmm.
And we make, as it called, moon planting ceremony in Mexico. That's how we call it. And all women get
For the
together.
moon cycle, the
Exactly,
menstrual cycle.
exactly. And you will take the blood, you will make a hole in your garden,
Mm-hmm.
right, or in sacred space. If you don't have a sacred space, we'll do it in your favorite plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you will give it back to
Yeah.
Mother Earth. And it's not just like, oh, I'll make a hole and just pour it there and that's it. No, it's just like a singing, a thank to Mother Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and a thank to yourself of doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that blood is going to the core of Mother Earth, is going to the heart. And you are using this such a big energy of
Mm-hmm.
yourself to help Mother Earth to heal too, right?
Right.
Those are little things that are lost. And our grandmothers are the ones that do it or used
Right.
to do it, right? They
Right.
don't say nothing anymore. So we are keeping it back.
Bringing back the sacred
Yes.
ceremony and ritual. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting too because if you think about going back to the days of and I like to always tap into the shaman aspect of it because
Mm-hmm.
shamans worked with bones and blood and plants and I'm not saying in a I don't go to that whole idea of ritual and sacrifice. That's not where I'm going with
No,
this.
no, no, no. Mm-hmm.
I'm more about life and birth and rebirthing because I believe that was misinterpreted, I feel.
Right.
And I think that was inverted as what we're experiencing right now. And we have this idea that this has to do, that is another interpretation of what was really going on. And what's
Mm-hmm.
really going on, because it has been lost down the generations, we haven't talked about it. And it is, it's like it was shut down. The women's bit, the throat connected with, I know everybody calls it and I don't know much about in the yoni, right? This whole connection. And it became like this taboo, cover up, when women used to have their moon cycle together. That's why when women get together, they get on the same moon cycle. It's part of what we do. And it would be sacred and women would just get together and the men would be like, go do your thing,
Mm-hmm.
goddesses,
Mm-hmm.
and they would even like sit on hay or sit on plants, and that's what would happen, and then they would give that back to the earth.
Yeah.
So it would only make sense that anything that is usable, that is in life, that is part of the cycles, would be given back to the earth in a sacred way, because the woman is still alive. It's a symbol of rebirth. It isn't this concept of it's life and life and life. But so and then this kind of has transitioned. So now you're utilizing your sound healing with your, and I love this too, because, and I'm learning more about this as you're talking about it, because I know we've talked about it, but I forgot some of the details. And I love the fact that it started off as one thing for you, and now it just keeps building, right? And
Yes.
keeps
Yes.
morphing. So you've got your heritage, you've got your roots. And you said did you have to go back to Mexico to find that? It's like you picked up those pieces from your
Yeah.
trips to Mexico?
Yeah, exactly. Because it was this calling, like, you have to go back, you have to go back. And I do go back every year to teach, right? But these trips have been bringing always something special to all the trips. Like, um, there was this community meeting where I met these chiefs, right? And they didn't know me, but they invited me to do different ceremonies with them. And it was amazing, right? Because I didn't know them.
Yeah.
So each one of the trips have been bringing people to my life that it's showing me that they are sharing with me, that they are teaching me. And that's just amazing. And the online world right now, it's just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Honestly,
mean,
it's just awesome.
well, part of also what I love is you're bringing back old traditions or some basically seemingly lost traditions. And
Mm-hmm.
it's such an important time for you to be offering this. And like you said, you mentioned earlier, it's been mostly connecting with women. Now, obviously, as a doula, you are connecting with the woman. It has to do with the baby and that whole birthing journey. How
But
would you connect with the
yeah, that's
men?
what and but you know what? Yes, I do connect with mother,
Yeah,
motherly, like with the baby, but not just them. I use this term of being maternal, and it's just not for mothers that have given birth. It's just for all women, because we all do, we all create, we
yeah,
are all creative from, like, it's our nature to create. So we are all mothers, right? It
yeah,
doesn't matter if you have babies or not. The thing here and the hint is just to believe it and just to start creating. I have lots of friends that they feel bad because they were not able to have little kids, right? But they are creating such an amazing projects, and that's the important thing, that they are creating such an amazing energy, right?
hmm,
But in our head, again, the concept of, oh, you have to be a mother, or you have to be married, you have, no, 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 no. That's the thing, right? To accept that beautiful maternal energy that we all have. So I
yeah,
connect with all women, so they reconnect again with that, right? That it's okay. Anyways, you're doing like this beautiful project, this beautiful energy, such a, well, even if you're not making like projects, but you're doing like amazing day, you're doing like amazing food, you're creating
right,
beautiful things, right?
yeah,
And with men, it's kind of the same thing. It's just helping them to recognize their how do you say that, cycles,
hmm,
cyclicidad,
hmm,
um, um, and help them to recognize women, right? Because some of the men I have in my sessions, they had problems with their mothers. So to help them to understand,
yeah,
to heal,
yeah,
but also to recognize themselves with that feminine energy,
hmm,
to balance, and to balance everyone, because we all have both energies, right? It's not like, oh, you're a woman, you have more.
yeah.
It's just
You're a
the
woman, so this
same.
is what you fit into, and you're a man. So because we all start out in the womb. It's not we become one or the other. We're carrying
Mm-hmm.
both. And
Exactly.
that's just physical on a physical level, but on a bigger scale, I mean that, and that's what we're doing right now is we're in that process of kind of bringing back this balance. And it isn't about just coming into the divine feminine, because you want that masculine ability to be able, not to say that the feminine isn't a warrior goddess also,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the divine feminine is embodying the divine masculine also. Like it isn't separate of, it shouldn't be separate of one another.
Exactly.
So how would you assist someone, let's say a man, for example, and what would you say, you know, on, I don't necessarily, I know a lot of people have parent, mother, father type issues, we'll call it, or triggers or blocks. But let's just say that someone comes to you and how do you assist them, just not, you know, in a very simplistic way.
Right.
What would you say? What would you do? Is it sound healing? And
I will say that it's kind of similar of what you do, right? Because I use my voice, but it's everything there. It's the love, it's the healing, it's the vibration, the frequency, the words, the intention, like everything in one noise, everything in one sound that you don't need to understand. You just feel it and let it go. That's what I say. Just don't worry. I'm not a counselor, right? You don't come to me to tell me your problems. I will be there to hear, but I'm not there to kind of advise you, right? Just sit down, relax, and let it go. So in my sessions is what I do. I connect with them energetically, and I start to work with them. I start to work from love. Otherwise you can't move anything, right? So it depends on the group and the vibration. It's the binaural beat I use, or the sound I create, or the light language channeled to do for them, and help with each one of them or in the group. And like all my symbols that I showed you before, they are my music, right? They are my all my symbols is my different sounds. So it depends on each one of them which symbol I try to give them in sound, for them to unblock those emotions and just keep working.
can you talk about those symbols for a little bit? Like, what is it? Because if somebody's never, you're using, I know what you're talking about. And I want to just, as I back up just for a moment, this is something, I mean, I'm bringing this all into the fact that we're here, more and more people are waking up to their innate abilities as stabilizers, healers, communicators, artists, visionaries, creators, creatrixes, however you want. And we're all stepping into this. And I want to just back up for a moment. Like, your gift is being able to bring to the table, this is what your flavor is, we'll say, is, okay, I'm here, my role that I'm stepping into that is really boundless, but that I get into is this divine feminine awakening, healing, marriage aspect, a sense of, and I'm sharing this like from, I'm just kind of in flow about this. So it's like this balance, a softness, yet a strength at the same time. And that's what triggers the healing. And then the symbols, you know, I know for example, when I'm looking at certain things, sometimes I see them, and then I visualize sound moving through them in certain shapes. For me, whenever you're talking about this, I see this as physics. You know, we talked about this before, but for those of you that are, you know, for anybody listening, whenever we're, you know, and everybody has their own musical harmony, chord, ray, whatever you want to call it, that they're tapping into. So that's why if you listen to somebody else, you know, mine might be a little different than yours. And I think that down the road, we're going to be combining forces, like a lot of us are going to be coming together in groups and in workshops and things like that with our, I get goosebumps, you know, because I've met so many amazing, you know, people through the work that I do, and also just from watching videos and, you know, tapping in, and somebody will send me a video. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of us doing this. But each person brings their own unique specialty to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's so cool about this, is it's not like just limited to, and I just wanted to share that. So your symbols and all of that you're bringing to the table, can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure. That was very strange because I remember the second session I had with you, actually, you activated that.
Oh,
And
I did not realize that I had to, this is very
yeah,
exciting.
that's
This is
all
fun.
your fault.
I'm like, wow.
That's all
No,
you.
this is so cool. I mean, this is, and you guys, I just want to stop just for a moment and say, this is what's so fun about this, because I might have activated this within you, but I will share that Karla actually, at the end of work that we did together, did some toning and light language and song for me. And I was like, whoa, blown away. And so I want to go backwards because, so I'm grateful for you for that. I'm grateful for our guides and for everybody that's worked with us together on this, because it's not like I'm doing this and it's not like Karla's doing this. We have a whole team.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody watching this has a whole team. So I may activate something within someone because of what I'm tapping into, just as you are activating that divine feminine, because you are so honed in on that through your frequency and vibration. And it's literally something that is palpable. Like I can feel when anybody that we work with, and I know you resonate with this as well, you can feel that energy that is, we're in it. All right, we've honed in, we're connecting, let's bring it. And so just because I'm a healer, Karla's a healer, anybody watching might be a healer, we are all healers. We all are already healed, yet we have always things that we can expand into, is how I look at it. So for me, it was like this activation that you're talking about, you gifted me with that activation as well. That was definitely, it was very divine feminine and very like a creative feeling, and just like this heart, very, very big heart. So I want to just touch on that briefly, because for you, it's not like when we say divine feminine, sometimes we have a tendency to think that it's right below the belly button.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually is everything. It is the throat, especially, and the heart. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly, because, you know, sometimes we think, oh, I don't need to heal that. But it's directly connected with communication. Yeah. So anyway, so you were activated by hearing frequencies that I was basically transmitting.
Yeah, exactly. And I had,
which I did not know.
Wake up at night. I know. It's just our sessions are short. I need more time.
Right.
Coffee. So I had to wake up at night, take my notebook, and start to like do Scrabbles. At the beginning, were just Scrabbles. But I needed to. It's like that thing that if you don't do it, it will keep like in your head. Do it.
Yeah.
Like you can't do anything. It
needs to get out into physical or physicality. Yes. or the material. It needs to materialize.
So I started to do all these symbols, and I was like, okay, what is this? And I just didn't understand, but I just kept doing it. And then I remember having this dream a long time ago, where I was sitting watching a show, and that show there was like this little kid playing the violin, but everything was very cosmic.
Yeah.
So, and while I was watching it, I was like, wow, my music sounds so good. And I'm like, wow, that was me, right? It was me. But I didn't understand why until I started to meditate on those signs, on those symbols.
So wait, you were saying what was you? The music,
the music was made by me.
In the show that you were
In
watching?
the show, yeah, in the show.
Can you go into that a little bit deeper? I know what you're talking about, I think. But I know that somebody is going to, so if you can, if not, it's not a big deal.
It's just, no, yes.
Like you were in the frequency of that, like creation, you were in it.
Yeah, yeah. I was doing that music. Like there were these spheres, kind of shaped, and they were like moving in the same way. This I didn't know like were symbols at that time, but in the same way, something on my head was drawing something, and those spheres were kind of like vibrating sound and colors and stuff. So I remember this little kid playing the violin, but that's what my head recognizes because I'm a 3D human, right?
Yeah.
But the music was different, and I know it was a violin, but it wasn't now I know it wasn't a violin. It was something else that I don't know yet. um, and the symbols were drawn into that instrument for the little kid to do the vibrations, but
Yes.
he was reading the symbols, and the symbols again is like scrabbles, but you will see the shape like maybe close to Arabic, kind of,
Yes.
and shapes like geometrical shapes, like with points, and I like just
Yes, I
lines.
totally I
Yes,
get it.
they're cool
So,
lines.
yeah, I want to back up just for a moment because you hit so many different like keys that I just would like to touch on briefly. First of all, you were seeing them and you had to bring them up, like you had to write. So like everybody is waking up to different ways. Things are triggering you just were triggered by my voice, so to speak, or the
Mm-hmm.
symbols. And I
Mm-hmm.
share this a lot. You're plugging into symbols that hold a frequency and a vibration. They hold a shape, they hold a geometry, a mathematical composition that within them, when brought through a string, where do they come from though? They don't come from the instrument, they come from the aether, the vibration, the plasma, the spheres that we all exist within, that we all are able to tap into. And this is physics. And I just want to touch on
Mm-hmm.
this briefly as well, because if you look up, I've talked about Dan Winters a lot. Did you ever? We talked about
Yes,
Dan Winters.
yes, we talked about it. Yeah.
So I didn't know either what I was doing. So I'm sure I just want to go backwards, and I will do a video and I will do a screen share with Dan Winter's works, because now this is something that we need to bring to the table, because I'm sure that you aren't the only one that's experienced this. I'm not the only one that's experienced this. But for you, it was symbols. So some people are drawn to light language, to geometries. Some people, it's numbers. It's like a binary code. For me, it's words. You know, I get symbols as well, but I write words, and those words hold a geometry and a mathematical equation. So it's connecting into, I hear the ringing of the spheres is what comes through a lot, which is an ancient, it's like the beginning of creation, essentially. Sound, in the beginning there was the word. It wasn't like there was a word written. It
Exactly.
was a sound. It was a
Sound.
word. It was or whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying that was it, but
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
just wanted to touch on that. So you had this, you had to draw, which is important for everybody listening. If you feel guided and you're getting downloads, get out a piece of paper. And you said it too, start singing, make weird noises. Oh, yeah, sure. So hold on. All right, we're back. So you had started drawing these symbols, and then, well, first you started off with the sounds, right? And then you were guided to do the symbols, and then you were seeing them through, it's almost the music played and you clairaudiently as well as clairvoyantly, right, saw the symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Exactly. Yeah, it's I guess yes. Um it's interesting because at the same time I'm working with someone, I will see my sheet music like in this screen,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And while I'm working on the person, I'll see sacred geometry of that person, of their DNA, right? So I will see like the lines are not how it's supposed to be for them. So with the vibration and the voice is kind of what I try to fix and try to move and da 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 da. And that's so cool. That's so cool. But that helps. The symbols help me to tell me, oh, this person needs this and this and this, like the prescription, kind of.
I love that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like a sound, it's a musical prescription. It's like a harmonic, it's so interesting because this is the way of it. This is how it was done before. And
Oh, yes.
It's in us.
Yeah.
And you're bringing it through, embodying it, tapping into it. And we're all triggered in different ways, and I feel like it's like when we're ready, we're guided to the right teacher, we're guided to go back to a place of our birth or our lineage, or we're guided to travel to see ancient sites. And oftentimes you followed those instincts, and in that process, it's almost like you've been adding to your toolbox, just like I have. Same thing, it starts off one thing and then all of a sudden it snowballs.
Yeah, and it's so cool because I remember dreaming words that I didn't know what were meant. So my big help, Google.
I know, right?
Right? So one of those words were nomos. And it's been like a huge thing for me, this word, because once I started to Google it, it was like nomos. Okay, so what's nomos? It looks like a little person, but it's not a little person. It's like that civilization that is connected with the African civilization that the name, and I can never remember the name.
Dogon? Is it
yes,
the Dogon
the
tribe?
Dogons, the Dogons tribe. So they are so connected with them, and I didn't know the word them. And it happened that since that moment that I know that the nomos are the parents of vibrational cosmic stuff, I was like, what? Right? So I understood that part of my work is thanks to them, because they are also kind of giving me the tools to work with to help the community, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So there's just so many beautiful things that we all have. You just have to remember.
Yeah, and I think you just hit another key too. Key musical note. Oh man, you can't laugh at yourself. So is that synchronicity. So you were guided, you've had the synchronicity, and what happens too, I think sometimes, so I want to share the synchronicities when we connected, the week that we connected. I had dreams about these gnomes, or not the gnomes. I had dreams. Okay, so let me back up, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but I want to share because oftentimes, like, you were given the word, you followed through and looked it up. And I'm sharing this from a keep it simple starseed kind of thing because oftentimes people will connect with me and say, well, how do I tap into this? Like, I want to tap into this higher self. I'm seeing these things. What do they mean? And you are following through. If you're getting the symbols, write them down. If you're guided to go somewhere, take a trip. If you are guided to make funny noises, make funny noises. Obviously, if you're guided to do strange things and they're not in alignment with good things, don't do that, but follow your heart. Right. Follow it, because that is your intuition. It is your guidance team trying to get you to pay attention, but you have to choose to follow those steps in order to open the door. The door's there, but you have to, it's like you can lead a horse to water. You have to actually take that step. And when you were talking about the synchronicities, so you had reached out to me and I had dreamed about Terence McKenna. Now, whether or not whoever's watching this likes or dislikes Terence McKenna is irrelevant. It isn't about Terence McKenna. It's about what he brought to the table and brought to our awareness through the use of medicinal plants. And we can get to that a little bit too if you'd like to, because I'd love for you to talk about that. I have not participated in this lifetime, I have in other lifetimes, many times, in medicinal plant medicine, other than cannabis, being that I'm originally Californian. And that is something that I came to understand very well, and I respect. I don't participate anymore, not to say that I wouldn't or that I have any judgment. It's just where I'm at right now. It's not my, you know. Having shared that, though, and we'll come back to the plant medicine with Terence McKenna, he talks a lot about DMT. So you had mentioned you were having these dreams and you were guided. I had a dream that Terence McKenna was sharing and talking. There was a lot more to the dream, but he talked, and so I looked him up. I didn't really know anything about him. And in one of his speeches, he talks about DMT. And this isn't, by the way, to say do or don't do DMT. We naturally produce it. It's not like it's something that I need to go do. It's already in me. I'm bringing it to the table because, and so are you. That's what you're tapping into. Those are the gnomes from one perspective. And those gnomes are also have to do with the elementals and earth and the plants, which can also be used. However, I was guided, and what happens, he talks about in one of his speeches, he says that when you do this DMT, he calls them dribbling jeweled basketballs, whatever, that's his interpretation. But they actually will morph in front and they'll sing and they'll make these noises. And he said they are desperate to get us to do that. And it's like they want us to communicate with them because I feel that it's been lost, it's been ignored, and it's an aspect of us. It's inside of us. We are a universe within a universe within a universe. So this DMT that we've been ignoring is there just yelling at us to play, to create through voice, through sound. And so I dreamed about this the week that you reached out and we connected. And again, this is extreme synchronicity because it's physics. It's literally a shape that they then say, here, this is creation. So I wanted to just touch on that. I know I went a little psychedelic with Terence McKenna. I've never done mushrooms. I've never done DMT, not to say that I wouldn't be interested. I've never done ayahuasca. I've never practiced in LSD or any of that. And that was his journey. Mm-hmm. And he had to do that to bring that to the table. So your gnomes, you're also bringing to the table and they're communicating with you.
Exactly, because it's, as you say, like, we don't need anything. You don't need we don't need even like a crystal. We don't need certain drug to feel or to get dragged into that, because we all have all those energies like inside of us, right? Yeah. We have everything. We just have to tap on it. And how? Just let it go, like let it flow, and let go all that prejudgment, let go all that low frequency news, low frequency music, low frequency thoughts, and like try to be positive. I know it's annoying maybe sometimes. I know it's hard nowadays.
Well, I mean, let's talk about that. You're not always, you've done shadow work.
Oh yes, I have to, because it's not bad. We all need to understand that it's not, oh, it's my dark side and I have to get away from it. No, we all need to integrate. We are all like aligned, right? Integrate the shadow with light and make good friends. Yeah. Because it's part of us. We have energy, like it's masculine, feminine. We have light, we have dark. We have this beautiful cosmic universe within us. And dark is no bad. Dark is just sometimes our way to create such a beautiful things too. We just need to believe it and
balance it out.
And balance, exactly. Right. It's hard, but we can do this.
Yeah. So what are some suggestions that obviously, so I want to go back for a moment because your shapes, before I forget, I was curious, you see these shapes and then you you see the geometries, and then you see the lines and what's going on. You know, some people do this with aura work. Some people do this feeling, they feel it in their own bodies. Some people do it. So what do you do? So you see, you hear this, you make the sound, and then you see it shift back into alignment. Is that how it works for you?
I see just lighter. Like the person looks lighter. I know if you guys it's like I see them pretty heavy in their energy, and after all this work, they see lighter, like they can float, right?
Yeah.
They and lighter and lighter. So it's more like a slowly pace, depends on what they want to do too. That's so important. I don't want to overwhelm them with all these vibrations and stuff, and they get all stuck and
Yeah.
freeze like with the
Right.
computer, right? You open so many software programs in the computer, it's like, ah, right? You don't want that in a person because they will
Yeah.
get stuck there.
Shut
And
down.
exactly. And it happens with the molecules, it happens with the atoms, it happens with the tissues, it happens with everything that we are, right? So I do it like pretty slowly, depending on what the person can receive.
Hmm.
And I see them lighter.
Yeah.
Once they come back to me, I keep seeing them a little bit heavier, but not as bad as the first session, for example, right? We
Yeah.
just keep working and working and working and working. And when it's a group, I just see like black smoke on the
Yeah.
top and black smoke on the bottom, and
Hmm.
just try to diminish it, like bring it back to the light, and thank to the light, and kind of balance everything. But
Yeah.
it's like geometrical shapes again, like each one of them, it's making like geometrical shapes, like they are dancing and moving.
Yeah.
Like it's I wish I could have a movie of that. Honestly, that will be awesome.
I
It's like
know.
he's drinking something or smoking something, but I don't. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Yeah.
But that's
No,
the thing, like.
yeah, but you do, you know, there are tools, and some people do require plants in order to get them to tap back into
Yeah.
Mother Nature, because they're
Yes.
so, well, some people just, there is no, it's not like that's a problem. It's like that's maybe what people, like some people are not, like if I do my toning, they just look at me like, not usually, I usually have some type of response, but some people, that's not the, what they are, is the preferable method to connect back in with
Yeah.
source. And it might
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they need to do an ayahuasca ceremony, or you know, if that's something they're really called to do.
Right.
But
Right.
again, it's not to do, it's just, it's not trendy. You feel it. You feel a
Mm-hmm.
calling
Mm-hmm.
and a curiosity. And it's like that plant calls to you almost,
Yes.
draws you in
Definitely.
to
Yes.
reconnect back to earth for whatever reason. Each plant has its own medicinal purposes.
Yes, yes. And for me was the cacao, for example. The cacao is it's been like a huge thing for me. It's been calling me for years already. And somehow when I was going back to Mexico, I never got the chance to meet someone who could actually teach me, right? Because everything is so hermetic and secret and here and that.
Hmm.
So the last time I went back to Mexico, it was for my surprise. There's this nana, grandmother, a nana, and she invited me. Right, I wasn't looking for it, and she invited
Mm.
me, and I learned so much about this beautiful medicine that it's the heart. Cacao, it's a heart love. It's everything with the heart, and it was just amazing ceremony, and to learn how it works with humans and how it reconnects you with Mother Earth and with your
Mm.
heart was boom. And
Really?
as you say, like everyone can have their own medicine, right? Also, there's another beautiful medicine that it's the rapé. That's the one I told
Mm-hmm.
you about. And it has beautiful medicines, and it helps you too to connect with the cosmic, with the creator, with Mother Earth, with yourself too. It's just beautiful. And the plants are just magic, magic,
Yeah.
sacred beings too.
They're tools. And I think it's also important to recognize that a lot of it is the ceremony, it's the intention behind what I was guided, like for example, with the cannabis. I feel like there is for sometimes it's a relationship with
Mhm.
whatever plant medicine we're using. And if you are not benefiting each other and you're abusing that particular plant, it then just becomes a substance. It's no
A
longer
toxic.
sacred.
Yeah,
I have a
exactly.
little bit of a pause, so I hope we don't lose let me just hit pause. I did exactly what we were just talking about. So I'm back, I hit record, we're back. But yeah, so it's important, I think, intention behind almost everything that we're doing, even if that intention is just to connect with Earth. It doesn't have to be something complicated. And that's one of the reasons I started what I did calling it simple, because I think sometimes we overcomplicate things. And it really is just getting back to our roots, the sacred, the feminine and the masculine and all of that. So I wanted to just, if you wouldn't mind, because I know we're getting up on time, I wanted to see if you wanted to maybe share a little bit of I would love for everybody to experience some of your toning and light language or whatever you feel guided to share. And I want to just back up for a moment before you do that and remind, most of the people that are watching this have probably seen this before, because I do, do the light language all the time. But it literally is, I haven't really talked about this prior. I usually say, all right, this is meant to be felt, not
Mhm.
necessarily understood on a linear level, but I want to just touch on this briefly because you do the same thing that I do. And I have a few friends too, Candace does it, and Kate, and I want to introduce you to some of these ladies at some point, but it's like this, we all bring to the table these certain dynamics. And when we're listening to this, you were open to see the shapes, to hear the sound, and you did it you had done the work leading up to this. And I would love to do another video and talk about your journey a little bit,
Okay.
because we just jumped right into what you do, what you're focusing on, the divine feminine, because it is important to really be like, look, this is
Mhm.
available. And some people, it may not be for everyone, but it can be very powerful.
Yeah.
And it's about getting out of this whole taboo, getting out of this, just get back to the mother and the roots and all that. But anyways, so as Karla does this, I'm going to invite whoever's honing in on this, not only to feel it in the body, but feel it with all of the senses. And I'm going to start saying this prior to the videos that I do, because I'm recognizing that some people think that in order for them to have their third eye on, they have to see it, or they have to, again, like you said, get out of the judgment. Don't judge the experience. Your brain, might be on like, what is this? Why am I listening to this? What does this mean? What is that language? Where is it coming from? Is it good? Is it bad? Feel it. Because then you don't have to ask those questions. It just allow, like you said, with the masculine, embodying that feminine, just allow yourself to be who you really are and to feel into it. So feel it with your body, your ears, your eyes, color. If nothing happens, that's okay too, because sometimes it'll just trigger something to later on, it'll be a synchronicity that pops up that maybe was never noticed
Mhm.
before.
Mhm. Definitely.
So I'll invite everybody just to kind of hone in, and I'll let you do your thing.
Oh, thank you. Here we
And I'll just
go.
set my intention, and you just let me know when you're done. Just give me, I don't know how long you want to go, but just I'll let you go until you feel guided. And yeah.
I'm so ready.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so ready. Okay, so this is with the highest love, with all the heart. And always remember to take deep breaths while you're listening or watching or feeling this. Ishiti ki itihara kara adashtara ludara na shiata ahkana kana shio tua hakatana yana shuana na ishituana shiatara ishikatarona cha ishikiti rikita korono shanara nasta atara shiatara na alana shiorona na shionoa. Inishiti ikinishita na eno shonaha eterotua tadei onoshuata ahakanate onoste otuarana iliti iti isha torata ashakata kurakata toturastiana ushuitira tarotuna shio turaheo no estirostuataro ko akanio shuana kata kato kuadana shito inishita na huana nanaste uturitia o shua katatarana ishiata no ahana ke otuakanaka ishiotuarawa ishiotuaya shiatao aya nana steoku Tinisti turatada eno sho atakata nakarata shiakano ruana steo ushuatana sheatano kuata inishiutana shaka eteno akana eo so eno wanasti ikirihiatana eo nostala nashiata itirihai hasta See. With highest love and with highest vibration. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your medicine with me and for receiving this. Yeah, welcome back.
So lovely. Oh my gosh. You know, it's so funny because obviously, so I just want to, before I dive into it, to sit with it for a minute, because for me, I'll share a little bit. It's like, it just heart, throat, my hands heat up. It's like, now I see things too. So whenever I'm listening or I'm connecting with other sisters, like I'll see this is multidimensional. I see different things and everybody has their own experience with it. that you are, and that was just a little taste of it. So I want to go backwards just for a moment because that was tiny. Like,
oh yes, I can keep going. Like I
yeah,
had to stop, but it keeps inside of me. Like just do
yeah,
it, do it, do it.
yeah. And usually your guide, like, I don't know about you, but it's like I'm guided to stop. Usually, like, I'll know when it's time.
Mhm,
Sometimes it
mhm,
just goes on because, and so what happens is for most of what I'm noticing is for it, people are going to receive what they're open to receive in that moment, whatever is, it's not like I wanted to talk about this because it's not like it's just one thing. It's not like it's, okay, that was for the throat. I mean, we
mhm,
can set that intention, but the innate, I think, is going to take over the human concept of what this is
mhm.
for.
Exactly. That's why in my sessions I always tell my people, um, set your own intention.
Yeah,
What do you want to work with? So this help, like I can help you in working that. Some of them don't know and they just say, yeah, whatever. So
yeah,
whatever helps for you, right? But it's so important. So,
yeah.
so important.
Um, That was beautiful. Yeah, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. And so I just want to go backwards and just recap, and then I would love to. I mean, we'll talk again, I know, and I'll have you hold on when we end this. But and I'm going to share all your info if people want to connect with Karla. I mean, it really is. Obviously, this was just a little taste. You're very, very magical, and I got to go back and just say I'm so grateful because as we open to this, we connect with our soul family. This is what we
Yes.
do. It's like, yes, Karla reached out to me, but I reached out to her. It's like you reach out through this, and it's not always going to be, sometimes we're curious, and it's not always a connection. It's not always, I want to share this with people who are just waking up to their gifts, or they're kind of at that phase where they're not sure where they're supposed to be going or what they're supposed to be doing. That's part of this. It's like
It is.
it's limitless.
Yes.
And so there's going to be stages. And it's the biggest message, I think, is let go of that pressure of having to do it this way or that way, or I am this or I am that. It's I am that I am. And what needs to present itself will present whoever needs to present themselves. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That doesn't mean it wasn't an experience or a lesson in something else. And so sometimes it's just about being curious and playing, and having fun with people who make you feel good about yourself.
Right. And it's part of it too. Like just go through those stages to finally see who you really are, because we are all meant to all this programming, right? That in my case, for example, yeah, you're Mexican, you're married, you're a mother, you are this, you're that. Yeah, but who am I? What's my true name? What's my true sound? And well, I'm talking about sound because that's my stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like each one of us, we all have our own us, like your own name, your own thing, like the true name, not the one that was given to you, right? And
Yeah.
it's hard to find it too, but we all can do it.
Yeah. It's finding your song. We always hear that. Find your song. A
Yeah,
song is music. It's your chord, it's your expression. And it's where who
definitely.
you are at the core, at the heart of it. Get to the heart of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Is what we're in the process of kind of doing and remembering, and we're all here helping one another do this. It's
Yeah.
not, this is it. It's again and again and again and again, and it's magical. So I'm so grateful that we had this time to do this, and again, I'd love to connect again, and maybe next time, and I'm still recording, but Karla has a really fascinating, obviously, history. She's a mother, you're a mother. I'd love to talk a little bit about that, and we didn't even get into childhood and where this began, or maybe some stories about some of the healing experiences that you've had, and even some of the people or teachers that you've worked with. And I'd love to hear more about the grandmothers and the people that you've connected with in Mexico that have helped you. And, you know, that would be really fun because I know people I'm interested in, and I know other people would be fascinated by it as well. Because we all have these things that have brought us. It's not like, Karla, you just woke up and this is how you've always been. This has been, I mean, it is how you've always been. But like you said, the programming, it's like you had to go through those layers.
Oh God, yeah. And it's hard when you're Catholic, like I was raised in a non-school, so it was hard. For my parents, it's still hard to know me.
Yeah. They haven't disowned you? That's
I'm
encouraging.
out of the closet. I'm out of the
Yeah.
closet. This is me. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Which is also important. I'm so glad that you said that, because that's where we're at, you guys. It's not about, you know, it's not about hiding who we are and worrying about what other people think about us, because it isn't about them.
Exactly.
It's not their journey. And they may or may not get you. They may or not get me. They may or not get whoever's listening. It's okay. We are not our parents. They're on their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really empowering. And we could go on for another hour. We won't, but it's really empowering when you step into that and you embrace it and you find it. And that is part of, to end on this, embracing that divine feminine.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
to bring it back full throttle.
Go on.
I know. So thank you so
much.
I'm going to end on this note, and I'll share your info, and I'm going to just say namaste. If you can hang out for a second. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. And until the next time.
See you.